Welcome back. Once again, we're watching some more Zetsubou Sensei, and I'm just as confused as I ever was. If I managed to actually predict even a fragment of the future episodes, I'll count that as a win, because there's nothing that is more telling than Zetsubou Sensei really pushing forward with all sorts of mannerisms of society itself, just in a way you never want to see it. But the school being just as poorly performing as we would probably assume. Are there going to be actual blowback, considering, they are meant to be learning something here? We'll have to find out. Strap in, because there's no telling what might come up next. But I hope you like the characters. Are we going to ruin the ideas of festivals in this episode? And don't know about it. He's still complimenting in one way or another. Is there a problem? Much like my entire life. Bimbo. It's because it's when something is so not in accordance with what you would expect, and just out of nowhere you would be focused on it. If it catches your attention, it means I don't think I know that's a lie. I have been pulled out of the moment in my immersion by some facial hair. Anyone going to mention his t-shirt? Yeah. Even the cameraman was like, it's a danger to society. I have no idea what it is. I don't think it's the fact that he doesn't... okay. I like it. You know what this is. Stop being difficult. It's bread. Are there any tails to be pulled out here? Really? Yeah, that's probably something you should keep to yourself. Are we just going to get a rundown of what everyone has been distracted by recently, no matter the situation? It's going to be really dumb, isn't it? Even in her stories, there's nothing happening. And I don't know if it's in accordance or completely abstract from the show itself, but I really do like these visuals for the opening. Maybe it's something you should actually be learning in school rather than listening to Zetsubou Sensei and his meandering bullshit. So, I only just noticed that one of them there was really enjoying dancing in the opening. I was just thinking, though, that if there was a school uniform or anything that required us to wear a hat, that wouldn't go down well at all. Okay. We've got an invasion. Although, are these ships only going to be like half an inch in diameter? The Ninyonians. Suddenly, aliens. And why have we suddenly got extraterrestrial giant mech events? Rather than concern about the Earth or anything, that's what she's asking. Oh no, the Air Force flying in a straight line. Fair, which means he should change his entire point of view. How's he going to feel if he gets lumped in with everyone else? So... okay, I'm trying to figure out how they're going to tie this in with anything. Omitted. Cool. No need or time for exposition here. Also, what's with the weird character models and animation in through all this? The giant robot was overkill. I mean, they could have sent the middle-sized robot. See how that fared. Maybe try the next one. They might be afraid. Suddenly. You know, they probably chose the worst ones possible to observe. Might be the worst ones to observe to figure out their invasion of the Earth. And what was going on there in the background? I know it's part of the point, you know, getting distracted when we should be paying attention to the proceedings. Is this just someone's vivid imagination or fan fiction here? And why are we still digging? Oh no. They're going to start having to learn how to use Haman. Well, at least the shovel went with her. And how much damage to the... They're having fun animating this. How much damage is done to the surrounding area? Who would have thought that it was just underneath the... That's a box cutter. Just below the surface of the roads in the city. Don't question. Don't question the use of German when we need something to sound cool and exotic. That's what he's... Oh. That's what he's focusing on here. The alien invasion comes secondary. But they had a robot army? Wait, what? That's the first I've heard of it. Is it time to withdraw? I'm glad that they somehow managed to find that through point. Is it, though? Excellent story. Just keep telling your audience that it was good, and one day they'll believe it. Is she going to be the next area of downfall for the world itself? I'm glad we're moving on, but he's very big on literature. He's holding himself back from so many forms of medium. Does anyone actually care enough to see what's inside his heart? And even if he could, he wouldn't tell you. As long as he doesn't... I mean, it's a public library. I don't think you'll find a single book that has been written that hasn't been read. At least proofread. Wow, he can see the very nature of the universe itself, being to look into things this well. At this point, just go into his delusion. Say, sure, yeah, I can read everything. Which means that I know that you won't mind if I don't take any more lessons this year. You'll pass me anyway. Sorry about this ancient story. He has better things to... Well, at least that was the end of that segment. Holy texts. Okay. So just shut yourself off from the world. That's an amazing way to look at it. Are those the examples she has for closing your heart off and being evil? Okay, fair enough. That's a little more embezzlement of donations and the like. He has a story for this moment, doesn't he? But unfortunately, he couldn't buy a human heart. Well, why not? Does he have a Nintendo Wii? Omitted? For the sake of brevity, we'll skip the build-up of the story and how we got to its final conclusion. Heartbreaking. He has a way with words. It is somewhat captivating, I guess. Just tailor your story for whoever's listening, so to really get through to them. Murder? I'd rather not. God. Thank you. Just, can we get each one of those lawsuits? Is there anyone whose heart won't be swayed by his storytelling? Yup. We're actually hearing this story. Jellyfish. That didn't seem like negotiation. Do you want a jellyfish wig? I mean, it would be obscured at least. Oh, we're still omitting it. Cool. How does that solve anything? So, dyeing itself black in the ink. I mean, he's read a lot, but is any of it actually useful? I probably fell asleep halfway through. I mean, since when does Zetsubou Sensei actually follow any sort of logical setup and conclusion? Yeah, okay, I didn't see that coming. True. It's just more of a segue and cutaway. Fancy meeting you here. He found that jellyfish. I really like how it's like, just lie to yourself about how things went. Say it enough and it won't hurt as much. Excuse me? Inconspicuous summer. Thanks, whiteboard. I'm so glad it's telling his inner thoughts for us. I thought he was talking about the tea. Okay. So, since she effectively lives here, she would need to have it. anything delivered. Main story occurring elsewhere. I mean, is there a story? So all this was okay. So this is what we were seeing on the Alien TV. And why exactly is this being thrust in our faces? Blog? I mean, if he doesn't have his glasses, then he won't be able to see properly, though. This is such a needed sequence of events. There really isn't anything to take your attention, is there? His eyesight is really that bad. Poor guy. And while we have world-ending mecha battles, sitting in silence, no more stories, please, I beg you. Okay. Yeah. I mean, for someone that doesn't really leave the compound of the school, I would suppose it was quite a big thing to her. Is that why it was... all the character models were off, because it was a TV program, much like the radio show we had previously. I mean, she has very pointed questions about baked goods. What would he possibly have to gain from seeing it? Okay. How would you ever be able to tell? Whichever he's chosen, it's going to be wrong, isn't it? Congratulations. Is this... yeah, is this a game of winners? What? Thank you, Maria. Finally, someone is talking wise. It would invalidate everything. Also, the entirety of Zetsubou Sensei is for a reason, is it? I thought you were just pontificating bullshit constantly. Right, okay. I mean, that is one of the joys of Zetsubou Sensei, is that it doesn't follow a predefined structure or anything. You can have pretty much anything happen and then ignored, cross-converging one on another itself, having stories of swimsuits and aliens simultaneously. If we try to follow some sort of actual storyline and coherence, I think I would tune out immediately when something just strange happened on the side. Whereas if this show is everything strange happening, there's something to get distracted by. How long until I actually get something that is somewhat understandable in this show? I'm guessing quite a while. Real invaders? Okay. I'm so glad we're having this extra bit that's... What? Behind the scenes, but bits that would be left out of the source material being said in a succinct and quick fashion like that. Yeah, cool, I like it. It means absolutely nothing, it's just there to confuse and entertain. Much like the rest of the show, actually. But Maria being the one voice of reason amongst the cataclysm of nonsense. Yeah, that makes sense. But having a few segments, the storytelling, it folding back about being distracted and not being able to pay attention to the main point, and then something about a swimsuit. I don't know, I was paying so vehement attention to that one. I do wonder though, kind of like what was shown off when the invaders were doing their little reconnaissance to see who's terrified of their big invasion. How many people would be wrapped up in their own lives and bullshit to not even notice? I think it would be a larger proportion than you'd probably expect. The fact that Zetsubou Sensei is a show where we can have main story happening and it is of less consequence than the side drama, the side comedy skits that we see. Because, well, there isn't a story in this. And it's part of the reason why the fans love it. Or fan. DVD sales didn't do too well. But I am glad that the animators got a little time to flex their muscles a little, have fun with the giant mech combat. Kaiju fights is not something that comes around all too often in animation. And when it comes to certain characters, they are seeming to be more and more perverse each time we see them. It appears as though the one that has been trapped away, hiding, secluding in their own little room in the school, has been slowly moulded by that one teacher. And it's really rubbing off on her. What other characters are going to have their own little downfall? Something else to add to their repertoire of nonsense? Or are they going to stay with that one-dimensional, animals' tails? Or the one that we got a quick glimpse of that poor dog. Even without knowing that anyone was particularly watching. Or maybe it was a warning, a war call. So if you try to invade Earth, get what I'm hinting at. You never know. Some aliens might like that. And here's me thinking that we might get an actual little festival story at the beginning when there was all dressed up, looking nice. A phone charm and a hairpin. Oh yeah, there was something about yukatas as well. Can't seem to put my finger on it though. Zetsubou Sensei being a show that I'm not going to forget easily. It's inhabiting my fever dreams and nightmares constantly. And the thoughts that there might be someone out there that actually acts in accordance to what we're seeing here, and it not be an exaggeration. Still, there's plenty more to see. Mainly because, well, I've looked at the folder and there's a fair few episodes left, and seasons. I don't suppose it's going to get any more clearer. So, I'm definitely going to need a drink or two before I see some more. If you want to have a struggle of trying to watch this sober, maybe you can join me for the next one. If you enjoyed this, let me know. Leave a like and a comment down below. Consider subscribing. But for now, get yourselves a bit of rest. Because we definitely need it. See you for the next one. If it wasn't for my patrons, I'd be watching something mindless on the internet. Well, thanks to my patrons, I get to watch something mindless on the internet. And for some reason, you watch along. So I do need to thank Noku, Sal, Guado, Kite, M.O, Ruben Filamawa, Wolfie Sensei, and everyone else for being along with me so far. And for some reason, not giving up.